Everyone wants to travel more, and today I'm going to show you how you can do that by reducing the amount that you pay for costs of flights and accommodation. We've done a lot of travel in the last few years, and I'm going to share with you our top tricks. We're going to start with how we get cheap flights. Now, this across the top here is all of the websites that I visit regularly. I donate about 10 minutes per day to keeping an eye on flights. If you only want to use one site, Hack the Flight is the one to use. It's hacktheflight.net, and you'll see that we are going to the /tag/hot page. This is the link up the top. This is where all of the hottest deals and airfares are listed. Now please do not fall into the trap. I hear it all the time. Oh, well, if they're this cheap, there must be something wrong with the fare. That is not correct. We have flown business class flights for a few $100s. We flew from New York to Dublin for $65. These cheap flights come up for several reasons. Sometimes the airlines are just dumping them. They just need to get rid of them. The seats are perfectly fine. Sometimes it's an error. This here is an example of an error fare. It's $320 return from New York to Delhi, a flight which usually would cost a lot more. Now when an error comes up, the airline will catch it and they will correct it. So you have a very limited time to book this. By clicking through, this one's clicked through to one of our favorite sites, Secret Flying, and in fact this one has already expired, but we're going to go through anyway so I can show you. It's got limited availability across February and March. So when you click through to the deal, you might need to try a few different dates. Show a little bit of patience. One of our tricks and one of the ways we spend our 10 minutes every day is by looking at these fares, and even if they're not the flight that we were hoping for, maybe we want to get from Mexico back to Melbourne, Australia, we look at these flights and wonder, could they fill a leg on that pathway? For instance, at the moment there are very cheap flights, $450 return from New York to Bangkok. Well, Bangkok is very close to Melbourne and there's always cheap return flights. So you could potentially make that work to your advantage using these sale fares. So always keep an open mind to them. Now if there's one other website to really keep an eye on that's very simple and will only take a minute a day, it's Secret Flying. Secret Flying makes it really easy. If you're from, say, Australia, click on the Oceania tab, and you'll see all of the hot deals. So Melbourne to San Francisco, 905 Australian return is a very good trip. 3-in-1 Auckland, New Zealand to Chile, Spain and Japan for $1,000. That's a fantastic trip. And they've also got, hidden in the top corner, hotels. Definitely keep an eye on this. €45 for a stay in the 5-star Radisson Blu is an excellent deal. And we pick up some fantastic hotel deals here as well. Now, for those who are a little bit more adventurous, I'll introduce you to Flyer Talk Forum. Flyer Talk-Forum-Premium Fare Deals. Premium fare deals are one of my favorites. These are usually business and first class deals, although sometimes they're premium economy. And you can very quickly scan down to see if there's anything new which suits you. Now, if you don't know the airport codes, and I don't expect you to, you'll learn them very quickly. Dedicate just a tiny bit of time, go to Google, type in PVG airline code or airport code, and you'll find out where that is and where it's going to. And then you can assess, do I want to pay $1,400 for this? What you'll also get to know is what is a sale and what's an absolutely red hot deal. Like I said, 10 minutes a day, absolute max. You can probably do it in 2 or 3. Now, from the premium fare deals, you can click down to the mileage run deals. Now these guys are all about getting the most frequent flyer points you can so that you can upgrade your flights, but they also list really, really good deals. If we scroll down here, we can see this person's advertising LAX, which is Los Angeles, to Hong Kong for $381 return. That is a ridiculously good deal. And in here somewhere, they'll talk about how many mileage points that gets you as well. So if you're that way inclined, then you're really going to enjoy this forum. Now, I'm not going to go into the usual advantages and disadvantages of using miles, but what I will tell you is that if you are the sort of person that puts their mind to things, there's a ton that you can learn from the Points Guy. It's thepointsguy.com is his website, and basically what most people do is sign up to new credit cards all the time, meet their minimum spend requirements, bank 100,000 or 50,000 frequent flyer points, and that'll upgrade them from economy to business class to LAX. Doesn't cost them any money, not money they weren't going to spend anyway. So really recommend you look into that, and this guy's a great one to learn from. Now let's move on to hotels next, and everyone knows about Airbnb. There's no secrets here, but what a lot of people don't know is they'll look once or twice and just choose whichever one suits them the best. What we've noticed is when people put their listing up for the very first time, they often underprice it, and underprice it by a lot. So don't be afraid to be looking just a couple of weeks out. We do all the time. It's very rare for us to book ahead more than 3 or 4 weeks. So what I'll usually do is look for, say, a 1-week period. Here, let's take 23rd to the 30th as our date range. We'll need 2 guests, and we're only interested in an entire property, say. Get a feel for what's available, set your price range, and look at this one. Just here, an entire apartment for 67 Australian dollars per night. That's unbelievable. That is actually just an example I randomly pulled up here that was not here earlier. Now, I'm not saying that that's the best apartment in the world, but if you have a look at the other prices, I can tell you that this is massively under market value for an entire home for that time period. We've been tracking them. So every day, even twice a day, jump on. The next thing you want to be prepared to do is send them a message. So let's say we were interested in this one. I know some people don't like asking for a deal, and you don't have to nickel and dime everybody, but you also don't need to miss out on travel. People think, oh, it's only $67. Well, $67 adds up, and if you travel or plan on traveling as long as we do, then that can be a real problem. Go to Contact Host and send them a little message. Hey, we love your property. It's just a little bit too much. Would you consider this? We could even, and it's great to throw in things like, if you're willing to stay for a couple of weeks in the one property, that's very attractive. One other little bit of consumer psychology, and I get this from my advertising days, everyone likes to go to round numbers, but it is the worst thing you can do. Pull in a random number, $51 per night. Subconsciously, this has a much, much broader appeal. It looks like a number that's thoroughly been thought out, not just like you're angling for a deal. And we always find that when we use these random numbers, $51, $52 a night, we have a much, much higher strike rate. Now, are there other deal websites? Absolutely. You can spend time on last minute. You can always, you should look at booking.com. They'll have some flash deals. Google now runs booking.com. But those are our tips for really working as hard as you can. Just as a side note, booking.com, it's worth knowing, they run a whole heap of different booking sites, including Trivago and a whole ton of them. So get to know who runs who, and that's going to save you a lot of time looking at the same things over and over. Also, when you are booking hotels, most cities add a tax on top of your hotel booking. So do be aware of that. We find almost exclusively Airbnb is by far the cheapest. Now, 2 more things you really want to consider. Travel insurance. If you are an Australian or a New Zealander, Southern Cross Travel Insurance is by far the best. I am not an affiliate for them. I make no money in referring them. What I can tell you, though, is that I have research them inside out and outside in. These guys have the cheapest policies, the best coverage, and they are a joy to deal with. I was in Dubai when I cut my leg open. I called them and they said, "Why are you even bothering to call us? Just go to the hospital." I sent them the paperwork. They had it paid within about a week. When we dropped laptops and smashed them, they paid for everything new for old within about a week. They are incredible, and they are cheaper than the others. Now, another little trick with Southern Cross Travel Insurance, they run a special about once every quarter. And you can find the special by going to ozbargain.com.au, that's OZ Bargain. You want to look in the travel section, but even easier than that is you can go up to the search bar and type in SCTI. And you'll see some interesting stuff. This guy's talking about how Flight Centre price match Southern Cross Travel Insurance, but here we go. Their last sale was 2016 on 5th of February. Before that, it was the 3rd of August 2015. Oh, I might be wrong actually. I've got some 2016s, 2017s in here, so keep an eye on when they are. Here's another one. What you'll be able to work out is they're roughly every quarter, and you should get about 15% off. Once you've got that 15% discount, then you can keep extending and keep extending. If you've been outside of Australia for more than a year, then insurance gets a little bit harder. And for Australians, it's very tough. For Europeans, there are options, but if you're an Australian, you're going to want to go with World Nomads. I do actually have a referral code for them, and I'll put that in the notes below. If you'd be kind enough to use ours, we would love it. They are very good. They don't cover as much as Southern Cross, but you really don't have too many options. And you can read their reviews. They do very, very well. We're going to have more helpful hints we'll be putting up along the way. The final thing that I'll recommend to you is travel with 10 kilos of luggage or less. I know that sounds crazy when you first leave home, but you really can do it.